When I sit back and look at my life over the last couple of years and how things have changed so drastically, I can't help but to think about all the things I wish I would have thought about before I moved to New York City. I came here thinking that my life would be so glamorous and brand new, and honestly, some of those things happened, but a lot of them did not happen the way I thought they would. So in this video, I'm going to share with you just a couple things that I wish I knew before I moved to New York City. Okay, let's get into this because it's a few things that I want y'all to know about before you decide to move to New York, because honestly, it's not what it seems, but it is what it seems. So before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. And yeah, let's just talk about it. Let's open up the floor, open up the comment section, so we can just know what's going on, girl, because really, it's very interesting. So y'all know I have to have my green juice in this video. I always have to have something to drink in my little videos I sit down with. But today we got green juice. So thank you, TEAMI Greens, for sending me over this to try it. It does give you all the daily intake of veggies you need in one drink. It promotes digestive health, gives you a boost of energy. It's vegan, non-GMO, no dairy, no soy, no nuts, no sugar, and basically I like to just add it with water and lemon juice, mix it up, and I like to drink it that way. But of course you can mix it in smoothies, oatmeal juice, apple juice, orange juice, any of those kinds of things. Even protein shakes I think would be really good, and you could get your daily intake of veggies just through drinking them, because who not trying to get all their veggies in during the day, like, period. So make sure you look at my description box below if you want to try TEAMI Greens. I do have a discount code down there as well as the link straight to the website. So let's get into the things I wish I knew before I moved to New York City, baby. So one of the first things I want to talk about is how your entire outlook on life will just change. And I don't know whether it's just this city or just moving on from whatever you're used to at first, but your entire outlook on life will change. You'll get here and see that everything you thought that you knew, or you thought that you liked, or you thought that you wanted, might not be the same thing you want now. And it might not even be because you don't even like those things anymore. It might just be because you just have more options. It's just more stuff. It's more going on. It's more people. It's more places to see. It's more things to get into. It's more hobbies. It's more everything. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to only change for the better or for good, but a lot of things will just be different. Nothing is the same. Especially if you're coming from a place that's total opposite from New York. I come from Memphis, Tennessee, so it's completely different lifestyle, completely different world than Brooklyn. Like, it's just nothing is the same. And I feel like when I got here, I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought I knew the path I wanted to take, but once I got here and I saw all the other options, it was like, why would I just stick to this one thing that I thought I liked, which I do like, but it's like now I see that I can do that plus more, and it's not just a cap on what I thought I wanted. So, you know, it's just, honestly, it's mind-blowing, and it can really change you for the better, or it can maybe not change you for the better, but that's up to you, and that's up to what you want to do, what field you're in, what career path you're going down, how much willpower you have. And that's just, you know, that's just that on that. I don't know, but I will say I have not talked to anybody that has moved here from somewhere else that hasn't felt like New York changed their outlook on what they wanted in life, where they could go in life. The possibilities are endless, and you see people who come from nothing. Like, you meet people who come from nowhere, like Missouri, and they get here and now they're like a model, or they're like have their own tech company, or it's just crazy how much things can change and how much opening up your world to new things can really change the direction of your life, because you never know, and you won't know unless you try it. And honestly, I'm one of those people who thinks that everybody should live here for at least once in their life, like even if it's not for a long time, but at least to just come experience it, because it really is life-changing for sure. But yeah, your outlook on life will definitely shift or change depending on who you are. So the next thing I wish I knew before I moved to New York is you really have to let go of being content, right? So before I moved to New York, I haven't really gotten into this story, this is another story for another day. But before I moved to New York, I was a school teacher, elementary school music teacher, and I was really almost content with that was what I wanted to be. Even though I knew that's not what I wanted to be, I told myself, because I was coming from a place where that was like the only option I had. So it's like, well, I might as well just be okay with doing this, because I just need to be okay with doing this, because there's nothing else to do. Literally, there's nothing else for me to do here. So I'm just gonna be good with being a music teacher, and that's what I'm gonna do. Even though I know I don't really like it, but I'm just gonna keep doing it anyway. So when I got to New York, when I had the opportunity to move to New York, I kind of stayed in that mentality, like I'm just gonna go to New York and be a music teacher and kind of settle into that. And it didn't last long. Let's just say that it didn't last long. And you have to let go of being content with where you are, because if you move in here, and I've said this in my past video, this is not a place to move to do just normal jobs that you can do anywhere else with any of the hassle, without any of the hassle of living in New York. New York City is the land of inconvenience, and I'm just saying, New York is the land of inconvenience. I would not move here if I was coming to be a teacher, unless you're from here, unless you're used to this kind of lifestyle, like you're from New York, you're from a New York or a LA or a Chicago, we're used to this fast-paced, really expensive, really hard to live lifestyle. I wouldn't move here to be a school teacher or a nurse or stuff like that, where you could do those jobs in another city without all the inconvenience. Even though New York is fun, but if that's your career path and that's like something that you plan on doing long term, I just don't see the benefits of being in a place like this, living in inconvenience, where you could work, where you could do that job in a way more stable, easy living lifestyle with that job and make more money, and your life can be more like just luxurious. Honestly, you have to let go. You don't have to, but I'm suggesting that you let go of being content and settling for what you thought you wanted, or just settling for whatever you have at the moment, because this is a place that moves, right? Everything is moving fast. People around you are trying to go up, they're trying to move to the next level, they're trying to everybody here is trying to do something more. I'm trying to get a better job, I'm trying to get a better apartment, I'm trying to get a better car, I'm trying to get more money. Everybody is trying to get something. It's never, oh, I got this, so I'm just gonna sit still and I'm just gonna sit in it. Like said nobody ever living in New York City. And I'm generalizing here. I know there are people who are content with what they have here, but for the most part, people who have been here less than about 5 or 6 years are on the hustle. They're moving, they're trying to get what they came here for. All I wanted to do was what I did at home. Why would I do that here? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you can get lost in the sauce, and you don't want to get lost in the sauce. You can get lost in the sauce watching everybody else around you hustle, and you just kind of like, well, I work at Apple, and I worked at Apple at home, and I transferred to the Apple here, and I like it, and I'm just gonna do this, like, and that is fine, that is okay, but I don't think that you're not gonna get the best out of your experience here living that way or thinking that way if you want to be more than what you were before you got here. So I mean, I guess, did that come up kind of negative? I don't think so. Don't settle, don't be content. I mean, I think that's what I'm saying. So before I moved here, I wish I would have known that me being settled in what I was doing wouldn't last as long as it did. I honestly thought that I was gonna move to New York and teach, get a teacher license, to continue to teach until I could find my way out. Yeah, no, it didn't last at all. So just be comfortable with growing. You have to be comfortable with growing and comfortable with moving and doing different things that you thought you would be doing. This is a good one. So everything that glitters isn't gold. Before I moved to New York, I watched every New York vlog, New York apartment tour. I saw people on Instagram who lived here that posted like they were having so much fun in the city, going to get drinks, eating out. Everything that glitters is not gold. I have witnessed it with my own eyes and have done it myself. People online, social media is highlight reels. People want you to see the best parts. People want you to see when they're out having drinks, out having fun, going to parties, going to events, going to fashion shows. People want you to see that part, but people are not showing you the part where you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get on the train to get to work by 7, and then your train was late, so you were late to work, and then you got rained on the way, but you left your umbrella at home. People don't show any of those parts, right? They only show the good parts, and I honestly did not think of that before. I thought of it kind of like I thought of it, but I didn't think of it to the extent that it really was, because I was used to living a certain type of way, and when I got here, it was like, okay, I got a job, so I don't have to live bad. Like I can still live good, but I was used to so many luxuries that are just I don't have here, and it is what it is. If you want to live in the luxurious life in New York, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, something, you have to make really good money, and the truth is, these jobs they're not hidden unless you work in corporate America, is what I think. To me, education and non-profits and those kind of jobs are great. You need those. People need to do those jobs. But if you're trying to live in a high-rise in downtown Brooklyn, baby, that teacher check or that non-profit check or that social work check is not getting you that rent money. It's just, unless you work high up. And as a person who's in their 20s, who's still at not the beginning stages of my career, but even if I was still in the same career path I was already on, I wouldn't make enough money to live in a high-rise building downtown, or a high-rise building even in the city or anything like that. I don't even make enough money to do that now. So it's like, if I'm not gonna make enough money doing it anyway, why would I do that? You know, unless I was really passionate about it, which is the difference. If you're really passionate about it, it doesn't matter about the money, right? You're doing it because you love it, and that's why people who do those jobs love their jobs, and I love it for them. I love to see it, baby. I love to see it. So watching these vlogs, and even me watching my vlogs or watching my Instagram, it's fun. It looks very fun now, and honestly, post-pandemic, it has been, since the pandemic started, it has been fun. But before that, honestly, it wasn't that fun, and I want to make a video about that. But it was fun, but it wasn't. I almost not want to be in New York anymore, because I couldn't stomach living the way I was living. And now that I don't have to do that, this is a much different experience. But coming here, it wasn't like that, and I really glamorized it in my mind before I got here. Like, oh, I'm go and I'm gonna meet these people, and I'm gonna make new friends, and I'm gonna work during the day, and at night I'm gonna have this amazing New York life. And sometimes it doesn't work like that, and sometimes it doesn't happen that easily, and it doesn't happen that fast. So you have to really look at everything that comes along with living in New York. It's expensive, it's nasty, it's dirty, it's a lot of people, it's competitive, it's a lot of things, but they can all be worth it if it's for you. Don't look at the glamorous parts. Look at the reality of it. Like, make sure you come here and really, like, I moved here after only coming here for like a week and a half. I had only visited New York one time, and I came here for a weekend, and I was like, oh, it's cool. But I still wasn't thinking of moving to New York. And then I came back for like a week and a half, and it's the most time I spent here. I think it did open my eyes, but it didn't open them to the real reality, because I had never even been to Brooklyn before I moved to Brooklyn. Like, my experience in New York City was in the city in Jersey. My reality of living in Brooklyn has been completely different than what I thought it would be. Mostly positive. Everything that glitters isn't gold. These influencers and people who have money live different. Those are different. That's a different life in New York than what you're gonna get just working regular job and living in a regular place like I live. Like, I don't live in in a floor-to-ceiling window building with a Starbucks under me and the train right at the corner. Like, that's just not the reality for most of us. So I think that before you move here, you should really look into the realistic things that you'll have when you get here, and not compare them to the things that you see on the internet, because that might not be your reality. And if it is your reality, girl, you starting out good, baby. You don't gotta do the step up. But if you somebody like me, just you came here from, you know, very humble start and still at the same humble start, and you have to do the work to move up to those levels, just know that it's harder than it looks, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. So next on my list of things I wish I knew before I moved to New York City is, it won't happen overnight, girl. It won't happen overnight. Like, one more time, it won't happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day. These people that are here thriving, most of them, when I talk to people who are like really like in a bag, have been here 5, 7, 8 years. Like, these are not people who just got here 6 months ago. People who got here last year, and especially now because of the pandemic, where we all kind of lost a year. I moved here in August before the pandemic started, so I've really been in New York maybe a full year, minus the time that I went home for the pandemic. I went home for the entire pandemic until now, until maybe February. So I basically went home for a year and I came back. People who are not set, but are like clearly like the people who are moving in their industries, have been here a while. It takes most people a while. It's not something that happens overnight with anything. Nothing happens overnight. So I think that people think that not even just moving to New York City, but moving in general is just gonna like change. I mean, and it can. I'm not saying it can't, but the work had to have already been started and like established before you moved here, in order for it to be an overnight thing. You know, I think that people think that New York City is somewhere where you can go and just like overnight. You moved here in February, and by the summer you are rich, you are popping, you are on Broadway, you are a model, you are a musician, you are something quickly. And that is not always how it goes. That's how it goes in the movies. That is how it goes in the movies. I would say movies really show New York City as a place where you might only have to hustle and try really hard for a short amount of time, and then it takes one thing to change your life. And I think that happens. But if it doesn't happen in 6 months, then it doesn't happen in 6 months. If it doesn't happen in 6 years, then maybe it takes 7. You know, it's just time. Is just time. So when it's your time, it's your time, and you can't rush it, and you can't compare yourself to other people's journeys, because you don't know what people have been through. You don't know what people do at home. You don't know how people live. You don't know. You just don't know. You just have to go at your own pace. So it won't happen overnight. And whatever it is your it to you specifically. My it is content creation and entrepreneurship and making YouTube videos and eventually being in the entertainment industry. That's something that I look forward to. That's something that is my it, and I know that it's going to take steps to get there. But your it may be you want to be a writer. Your it may be you want to work in tech. Your it may be anything. But whatever your it is, on your time, and it won't happen overnight. It might happen overnight. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen overnight, but if it doesn't happen overnight, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just didn't happen at the time you wanted it to. But it's not really up to us, right? Right. So the last one is something that I have talked to other people about, and honestly, I never thought that I would be somebody saying this, because I was always like anti living in Memphis. But you will really appreciate where you came from. You'll really appreciate your hometown, and you will really appreciate all the things that you thought that you hated before you got to New York. All the things that you said that you didn't like about your small town or your hometown, you will love them now, okay? And I'm not saying that it'll make you want to go back home, but I'm just saying you'll appreciate them more. Things that I said that I loved about New York that I just hated that wasn't in Memphis, now I wish I had. Like, I wish I had a garage. a garage. Things that we take for granted. I wish I had a garage in New York. You know how easy my life would be if I could just drive in a driveway at my house. Just getting in my car, drive to the grocery store, driving back home, pulling in my garage and getting out the car, taking my groceries in. What's that? I don't even know what that is anymore. People that you knew all your life, your parents, your family, your siblings, your friends, the spot you used to go to all the time to get tacos at home. Like all those things that you took for granted, that you thought that didn't matter. New York was just gonna be this big, better place. Everything was gonna be so great and so good. You kind of missed them. You're like, oh my God, like I love it here, but I also love it there. And I think that I love my hometown just as much as I love New York. Do I want to live there? No. But do I want to live here forever? No. I think it just gives you a much better appreciation for all the things that you thought that you maybe didn't like. And it really gives you a lot. I think that comes with growing up too. I don't think that's necessarily a New York thing. It's just a moving on and growing up thing, that you look back on all the things that you hated before and you're like, it actually wasn't so bad. Like, it really wasn't so bad. But yeah, so that was my last thing I wish I knew before I moved to New York. I tried to give y'all a different take on this video, because I could have came out here and just said like, I wish I knew that the rent was expensive. I wish I knew that the groceries were expensive. Like, we already know that. I think it's 2021 and we all know that New York is expensive. That's not something that we really need to keep talking about. But I do want people to really think about things other than money and money. I think that like a lot of the videos on here about New York are really just about how expensive it is and blah blah blah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it. If you live here, if you're thinking about moving here, if you have some other things that you wish you knew before you moved to New York, or some things that you want to know if you are moving to New York. And make sure you subscribe to my channel below, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.